Hey there, I'm live. It's good to be here. Sorry I'm a few minutes late. Had a technical issue, but today I wanted to talk about Mural 101. And as you may have noticed, we are big fans of Mural and we use it a lot. And I was just recently talking with a friend of mine about Mural and about our workshops and about COVID and the big transition that we had to make. And the thing I was like kind of reminiscing about was how when COVID first hit, we had to we had to really think hard about how we held space for our clients and ensured that we delivered the same quality to all our clients. And Mural played a big part in that. And the interesting thing is that we were no strangers to Mural. We've been using Mural for at that point, I think, 2 years or more. And the thing was that we used it mostly for business development. So we would design 90-minute workshops so that we could engage with clients and they could see how we work. But then when it was time to go do the deeper workshop, do the full engagement, we went on site. And so we had to retool our workshops so that they were longer form workshops, and we had to prepare for the deeper engagement, and that meant we had to build new templates. And that's one of the things that I think is critical and what we'll be talking about in Mural 101. This is a 90-minute workshop where we're going to go really deep, really quick, and it'll be highly participatory. So you're going to be in Mural, you're going to be doing the things hands-on that we go through, and we'll be there thinking out loud, working with you to help you understand what the potential is in the tool and some of the things you might need to consider. And I would say the biggest thing, coming back to my story a second ago around our transition from COVID into kind of this new abnormal, as my friend Daniel likes to say. And it was really about the preparation, the sheer amount of preparation required before a virtual session is much greater, because we could walk into a room and just own a whiteboard. Well, in Mural, you have to prepare your templates, you have to have a game plan, and if you want to make sure you have a resilient agenda and a resilient plan, you have to have many ideas and many tools kind of prepped up and ready to go, so you can kind of move them in and out as needed, so that you aren't like prisoner to your agenda, and that you can try different things. And so we'll be covering how to create templates, how to think about your template design, what's really critical there, and some tips and tricks we learned along the way, as well as just how to get started. And the reason that we cover how to get started in Mural is because this is something that, even if you are familiar with your Mural, you've used it before, it's something you're going to need to work with on your participants, because many of your participants probably haven't seen it before or aren't super comfortable with it. So we're going to show you how to get someone quickly onboarded in the Mural. So if you haven't done it before, it's going to be beneficial for you. If you've used Mural in the past, you're going to see our tips and tricks on how to get people onboarded really fast and get them familiar with and oriented to the tool. So that's really, really critical. And ultimately, it's the shape of the day is going to be more about getting into the tool, looking at templates, playing around with things like the content library, and we'll be going over our 2-canvas system. We're really big fans of thinking about the cognitive overload that folks might have, as well as making sure that we are being mindful of any of our wayfinding concerns that we might have, because it's really critical that we set up things so that folks can easily orient themselves, know where they need to go, and find their place. And so if we've got a massive mural, a massive template where there's so much that can be done, and because we're kind of covering all the activities of the day or even the week in some cases, that it's easy to not be very clear. It can be confusing. And so where am I supposed to be right now? What is expected of me? And so as much as we can constrain the prompts and the visual, let's say, distractions and noise, the better off we are. So that is a design element in our two canvas system, that whether you use a two canvas system or you're taking a different approach, you'll kind of learn some of these mindsets and how to work through this, and we'll be there to answer questions and guide you along the way. And so I really can't underscore enough how important it is to think about, what is it that that you're hoping the learner to know right now, and that should be front and center. And let's remove all the other distractions and kind of bring that stuff, surface that stuff to them. There's several different techniques that we'll talk about to cover that. And while I'm still live here, I'd be happy to take questions in the comments on maybe things that you've tried to do in Mural, or what you've things you've run into, or things you're hoping to learn more about. But ultimately, I just wanted to come live here for a moment, talk a little bit about like why we like Mural, how it's helped us out, and hopefully you'll join us here pretty soon on our event for Mural 101, and it's coming up in 2 weeks. We're going to be in Zoom, just working through Mural. And maybe for those of you who haven't seen Mural before, maybe I could just create a quick mural and kind of show you around a little bit, so you can kind of get an idea of what we're talking about. So let's see here. This is a blank mural. I'm going to maybe make this window a little bit smaller so that you can kind of see a little bit more of what's going on here. So we got a little zoom settings control down at the bottom right, which is really helpful because we can set mouse versus trackpad mode, and we can kind of move around our canvas. So it's really kind of modeled around this kind of infinitely scrolling canvas, and you can see I'm moving the canvas around. We can also make the canvas bigger. We can make it smaller. And that's a pretty critical thing for folks to understand. Because one of the problems we see all the time is that folks will be zoomed out. They don't really realize this, that they're kind of used to maybe Word docs or things that are more fixed, and they say, well, that's too small, I can't read it. Maybe I'll make it big enough to read. Now you can see that if this thing is taking up nearly a quarter of the page so that they can see it, then that's no good. So it's important to train people on this ability to zoom in and zoom out. And as a facilitator, here's a little pro tip for you. If you've got multiple stickies going, or it's that someone's created really, really large, you can select them, and then you can set them to the default size. You can even set them to the same color. So if we wanted everyone to create green stickies, we can do that very quickly. We can also arrange them in a grid, so we can kind of make them really compact. Let's say they put them in the wrong area, we can get them organized and all move together. So it's really critical to think about that cleanup, because if people are creating them different sizes, even different shapes, people come in and they'll make round stickies, even though that you're hoping people have square stickies. And so as a facilitator, really handy to clean this stuff up so that there's consistency, because what you want to avoid is the cognitive overload of someone seeing this stuff and this thing is maybe pink, this thing's really big, and they somehow managed to bold it. And so you got a bold one, and then you got a blue one that's like round, and you're like, wait a second, what does all this mean? Why is that one round? Why are they different sizes? How am I? And now we're gonna vote on these. It's cognitive overload, because they're having to try and decipher if there's meaning to any of these shapes and these colors and sizes, and it's really hard to vote on things when there's not consistency. So really important to make them the same size. Kind of get them kind of somewhat ordered, so they're kind of neat and together. And then we can go into a voting session, and we'll be teaching voting. We'll be kind of walking through all the tools in the toolbar. So all the cool things like the content drawer, and then importing files. Lots of awesome stuff here. So don't want to miss Mural 101, and looking forward to seeing you all there. And until then, enjoy your meetings.